Hey you guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Let's jump into Cash Offer Masterclass episode number 24. Got a cool little house here in Palestine, Texas from Fazio Real Estate Solutions. And as usual, I don't have a relationship with Fazio, but I use their content. And as a result, I like to shout them out. If you have any interest in this deal or anything really in North Texas, if you're looking for single family real estate, these guys have a lot of stuff under contract. Reach out to Jade Vaughn at 214-646-9646. She could hook you up with properties even in places like Palestine. Now, I know you're probably looking at this and you're saying, Dev, you don't know how to say Palestine. But I do. Actually, I do. I know Palestine very well. It's a city here in Texas. Let's jump over to the artificial intelligence, which tells us Palestine is pronounced Palestine. This is different from the Middle Eastern country. We say Steen instead of Stein. And so that is the reality of Palestine, Texas. We say it a little weird. We do things a little weird here in Texas, I'm going to admit. So we're going to jump in and look at this house. There's a few reasons I chose this one. I'll reveal those to you as we go along. So the address 701 North Ash Street in Palestine. This is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house built a long time ago. I didn't even know they were building houses in Palestine in 1900, but apparently they were. 1,300 square feet on a pretty small lot. They say ARV 159 and opportunity 59. Now that sounds like there's a whole bunch of money to be made on this relatively little house. So let's see if that's actually true, and let's jump into the numbers. So as usual, I have done some research in advance, and the first thing I wanted to know about was, where is this Palestine, Texas? If I jump back, you can see it is, this is my house down there. It is south and east of Dallas, Fort Worth. So that's where the house is at. And we are going to jump into the numbers. First thing, let's just look. What did they say about it? About the big five. No known issues on roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and foundation. That all sounds pretty good, my friends. So let's go around onto the interwebs and see what this house is worth. Now, the first thing we see is the Zillow page for the house. This house actually has no Zestimate. There is no data for the house. And you see this sometimes in the properties that are maybe not located in the main metro areas, but Zillow doesn't seem to know much about this house. They've got this value of 65,101. Where did they get that? Well, they got that. If I look at another site I use sometimes, HAR, which is Houston Association of Realtors, they share the market value per appraisal district, which is 65,101. So that's where Zillow got that number. It's a market value from an appraisal district. It's probably not the actual market value of the home. So we have to take that into consideration. Zillow has a number. That number is really just the tax assessed market value. And in fact, that's from 2023. There were a couple of other sites I was able to check. Redfin had it at 73,739 and had some. So this is a buyer's market right here. Is a market trend for that area. Median sale price is dropping a little bit. 73,739. I found it on Realtor. Look at this one, Realtor. Coming in at the with the high offer of 142,041. Realtor, not bad. Let's see if they got any kind of price history down here. That number looks like it's coming from Quantarium, and they don't have a lot of data on some of the other. Let's see. Yeah, if you went back just a little bit, you could see 137 on CoreLogic, 109, 129 on Quantarium. What are these guys saying? 159. I am not seeing that. So I'm just not seeing that. My property radar had it at 92,371. So this is what we're able to determine. The Zillow had it just at that tax assessed, market appraised value. Redfin at 73, Realtor at twice that, and Property Radar at 92. It's weird because I think that super high bid, or not bid, but estimate from Realtor has offset the super low estimate from Zillow, and you're arriving at an average that's about what Property Radar says. Excuse me. I think you guys know I like Property Radar. It's a service that I pay for, and I think their valuation metrics are very, very good. So I'm going to go around that number, around that average that we got there, even though we got some crazy highs and lows in there. But if you come over here to our subject property ARV section, I have put in $72 a square foot. If we go back, this was just to remind you, 1,308 square foot house, three bedroom, 1 bath. And so to get around that 93,000, I put in $72 per square foot. Excuse me. And I've got 94,000 as my after repaired value. That's close enough. I like it. Let's go with it. Now, if there was no repairs to be made on this house, and we were just to, basically come in at the 94 ARV, our 70% discount factor, we would be at 65,923, which means there is some room between what they're asking and where our cash offer is with no repairs. Now, we'll see if that holds up. If the house needs no repairs, then this is a really good deal. If the house does need repairs, this is probably not a good deal. And it's really what it comes down to. And as usual, I have not looked at any of the pictures or videos or whatever they've given us. I've waited for you guys, and I waited to have you here so we could look at it together. So my reactions are seeing it for the first time, just like you. So we're ready to jump into it with a 94, 176 ARV is going to be our number at the start here. So let's jump into the pictures and see what we got here. All right, we've got what appears to be snapshots from Zillow and then some JPEGs. Let's see. Let us see. That snapshot from Zillow, it's Street View. Yeah, it's kind of what we were looking at just a minute ago. Yep. They're not, Street View is not horrible. You can definitely get a good look at the property. Got an exterior chimney there. Yep. It's all right. And that's the picture that we saw in Street View. And so now we're getting into their JPEGs. Before we do, just wanted to show you guys something. When I go to Street View, one of the things I like about the actual Street View is to just look around. Look, what does the house across the street look like? What are we looking at every day if we lived in this place? What do the other houses on the street look like? Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is a hot mess. Wow. Can you believe that? I mean, here's our subject property on the corner there, right? Yeah, we're on the corner there. There's our subject property. And if we just turn and look right there, we have that. That is crazy. There's no words like for what? Maybe it was a general store at some point. It just looked like it would have a sign up here, the Quickie Mart or something. That's crazy. That's not great. I mean, it basically tells you. See, let's look at this one. This is across the corner from it. Pretty rough, my friends. Pretty rough. And we got a little couch out front with some cowboy shoes on it, I think. Yes. Going down out here to the corner. Maybe a little bit nicer houses out here on the larger street. See, it's not a bad house. This is over here, not a bad house. But you kind of see what we're dealing with. Palestine is, kind of a typical small town, Texas. And remember, our subject property was on up there. I think I might have passed it. Doesn't matter. We saw it. We saw what we're looking at. So jumping back into the pictures. Now we're going to take a closer look with the actual JPEGs that they provided us. First thing that we see is window unit AC. It's a frame house. There's been some work done on it. If you look at these the corner framing, looks pretty recent, as if they've done some work on it. Looks like they've used a siding material on the eaves or soffits. We should talk about that one time. What's the difference? But I'll call everything under the roof line, I call it the eave. But okay, that looks good. Backyard, I guess. We're inside the house. We see it's not finished. It needs texture, paint, framing. There's no framing along the baseboards, door frames. Yeah, probably somebody started working on this property and didn't finish it. Because you can see somebody was doing some work. There's a ladder out there. What do you need a ladder for if you're not doing any work? Yep. The siding actually looks fine. I'm guessing that's not 1900 siding. It looks pretty good. If it is, it looks great. And yeah, the inside of the house, if you look, all your the moldings or framing around your doors in many cases is missing. So somebody just came in here and kind of began the work. Obviously the front door there. Yeah, a 1900s house, this old brick and concrete base, pretty typical concrete steps. It's not that bad of a house. It's kind of a neat little house, in fact. Yeah. Yep. Again, inside the house, work was done. Definitely the drywall was done, and somebody came in here and put a little money into this place. It's not bad, as an investor to pick up something like this and continue the work. It wouldn't be so difficult. You're not having to come in here and do a lot of demo or anything like that. Yeah. What do y'all think? I mean, it's definitely funny how some things are gone and some things aren't. Yep. Again, we just need to come in here and do the finish out. Let's see, probably, if you look at those big wide, that big wide framework around the door, that might be something you would have seen in 1900, where, and today we would have a modern set of trim around that door. I keep forgetting the word trim. I think trim might be the right word. All right, we're looking out a window. That window looks very old. These could be windows from the 1900s. Not necessarily the end of the world as long as they're all in good shape, but that's a wood frame window and it looks pretty old. And again, most of the walls look like they've been prepped. Here in this bathroom, didn't get quite as far. You've got a tub sitting there. It hasn't quite really been fully built in, and you've got no tile work around it. So this is all full cosmetic. Tape and bedding needed around all that sheetrock. Something happened. I mean, something didn't quite match up there. Or they removed something right there, maybe to put that bathtub there. I don't know. Yep. Not sure what that show is. Do you guys know? I do not know. Yeah, here I think you're seeing that wide trim that would have been, like an early 1900 home, and then around the door, I think more modern trim. A little bit of crown molding up there. That's probably, I don't know, doesn't look that great. Kitchen looks like very, very old cabinetry. Yeah, I think, man, honestly, just looking at that, I'm thinking this thing probably needs to be torn out and replaced. It is very old, very, very old. And are we at the end? I think we're at the end. So that was it. Getting to the kitchen there. All right. What did we learn about this property? We learned it needs full cosmetic. No, it's nice that somebody has done a lot of the work. Honestly, that could be nice, could be not nice, because they put sheetrock over stuff that now we can't really see, so we're just trusting that the electrical work or whatever's behind that sheetrock is okay. And that it probably is. They didn't do any of the trim, molding or that type of stuff. So all that needs to be done. There does need to be, now generally with cosmetic, I often say, cosmetic is the pretty stuff, and general repairs is the things you find as you're doing the pretty stuff that needs to be fixed, like an electrical problem or a plumbing problem or something like that. It's not a big, huge electrical or plumbing issue like I would account for in these categories, but just little stuff, doorknobs, whatever. General repairs cover all the little stuff that's not in a big category. And I would say in most cases, when I look at a house that needs to be completely redone, I'm using 1 or 100% for cosmetic and 1 or 100% for general repairs. And it gives me a good base budget to go in there and kind of do the mundane kind of work to get the house to look good again, excluding the big 5 that we are very concerned about. And so now I do think that this house, if you remember in one of the pictures, what did we see in regard to HVAC? We saw a window unit, and I wasn't paying that much attention to how many window units we saw, but often that's telling me that there is no central AC. And this house, again, was built in 1900, so I don't even know if they had the central AC, areas of the house even built at that point in 1900. They probably didn't. And so I think this house, because and again, in the pictures, what did we not see? We didn't see any of the mechanical stuff. So I really think this house has no central HVAC unit. And that makes me concerned about, yeah, we can put window units in for AC, but what about heat? You need some sort of heaters. If you don't want to just run electric heaters in all your rooms, it could be very expensive. I am concerned. If this was like I was doing a modern renovation on this place, I would put a 1 there, and I would put an HVAC in this. Now you can see what's happening to our price. If you look over here, it's just getting beat up, right? Because there wasn't much to work with. We only had, after that $94,000 ARV, we were starting at $66,000 if things were in perfect condition, and they're not in perfect condition. And as we saw, this is an unfinished project. And so as a result, look, whether I put the HVAC in there or not, you can kind of see the problem. They're at 59, and our model with just cosmetic and general repairs is at 45. So 45 to 60, we're at $15,000 spread. And then if I went in here and said I do want to put an HVAC in this thing, well, it's at least 7,800. Our spread gets really big at this point, really big, $22,000. So I think this one, this is a problem. It's just a problem. And the problem was not so much rooted in the fact that the ARV is too high. I do think it is. But you noticed even after we computed our ARV, at 70%, that was still, we still had a little bit of money over what they wanted versus what our 70% factor was. But man, once you start looking at the actual repairs on this place, and just for grins, I'll go back to 0 here. We'll just say we're going to have window units and I don't know, gas heaters in the rooms or whatever they have for this old house. We're still just so far off, 15,000 apart. So that's a problem, right? And I think this one there's not much more to say about it. Neat old house, could be really cute. Need somebody to go in there and give it some TLC. I honestly think the best buyer for this house would be a homeowner who wants to, has cash and come buy it cheap and then do their own sweat equity and build the value of the place up. But I don't think it's approaching 159. I think it's approaching maybe 90. And so, and then also these smaller towns around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they've definitely fallen off in value in the last few months or last year. So they were hot. Like after COVID, people wanted to move out of the metros and go out into these small towns and live in a cute little house out in the country. I don't think people are wanting to do that so much anymore. They're wanting to be back in the metros and and to get a nice house close to where they work. So look, I think that's where we're at. We saw it at 94 in our ARV and 45 on our cash offer, and we can't get to the 59.5 that Fazio's looking for. Now, again, I always say, why are they offering it for 59 instead of 49? Well, they didn't get this deal. They didn't get it for 45. They got it for a higher price and are offering it for a little bit more than what they paid for it. So sometimes you're just dealing with the deal you got. You can try to get the best offer, but sometimes, the homeowner just says, no, this is the least I'll take. And, you try to make that deal work. This deal's not going to work for us, but that's okay. They don't all work. So I hope you enjoyed the Cash Offer Masterclass today. I just want to remind you to go to cashoffermasterclass.com, click on the Get the Calculator button. Just fill out that contact form. I'll send you the calculator, and you'll be a part of the Cash Offer Masterclass community. Also on YouTube, you can just search for Cash Offer Masterclass and find the videos and the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Do all that stuff that you do with all those other YouTube channels that you watch. We're a new YouTube channel. We're just getting started. So seriously, your subscription and your like on these videos is helping me more than you could possibly imagine. And I really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for it. I've enjoyed spending time with you today. And, I love looking at houses together. I love looking for deals together. Not every day we find one, but sometimes we do. I do think this was a neat little house to look at, but just not the deal that we're looking for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you on the next one.